Captain's Log, Temporal Date 102673.3. We picked up the trail of our elusive prisoner once again. After dodging the trap they laid back in Boris system, we are now en route to Rura Penthe, the infamous penal colony buried in Klingon ice. The hunt is far from over.
Hey Captains, welcome aboard Captain's Temporal Star Chronicle. If you're new here, grab a disruptor and settle in. If you've been with us on this journey so far, kapla! Glad to have you back. Today we're diving deeper into the Klingon art with our trusty recruit. Since the third mission, Space Chace, is super short, I've combined it with the fourth, Manhunt, to give us one solid episode packed with action, lore, and more sneaky Federation nonsense. So set your chairs to Red Alert recline mode and get ready. We are unraveling conspiracies, chasing down a shadowy spy master, and poking around the nastiest corners of the Empire. And hey, if you're enjoying this ride through time, space, and suspicious political alliances, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps this channel boldly going. And now, with tricorders calibrated and disruptors charged, let's jump into the mission. So, we chased the prisoner shuttle to the Boris system, thinking maybe we'll get a quick win, but nah. Turns out the guy we're tracking is playing 4D chess. He's already planned for Duran to take command, apparently planned everything, including this little detour. While we're opening comms, he flips the script, activates a bunch of fake distress beacons from wrecked Starfleet ships, all phantoms, all broadcasting Mayday signals. And just like that, the system turns into a Starfleet magnet. Suddenly, we're not alone anymore. First comes a captain trying to play it by the book, demanding we let him aboard. Then comes the fighting, and more ships, and even more fighting. It's a full-on Federation pileup, and we're smack in the middle. By the end of it, we are still standing, but it's clear this wasn't just about escape. It was about sending a message. Our prisoner? He's not just slippery, he's a tactician. Back at the base, we get word that our actions helped tear down a spy network back on Kronos. So, silver lining there? We even pick up a new bridge officer, Tharak, a Gorn scientist with a thing for a gutsy moves and chaos. He kinda fits right in. But before we can kick back, we get our next lead. The Federation agent we've been chasing is a guy named Franklin Drake. And if you've heard of him, you know, that's kind of a bad news. The trail takes us to Rura Penthe. Yep, that Rura Penthe. The Klingon prison planet that makes everything else look like a weekend retreat. The warden's not exactly thrilled to see us, and he insists there are no Federation prisoners here, which is, you know, super believable. We beam down, fight through some bureaucracy, some guards, and few wild jackals. You know, normal prison visit stuff. Somewhere along the way, we also pick up a jackal mastiff as a pet. Don't ask why, just go with it. And then things get interesting. We interrogate a few prisoners, and one of them finally spills the truth. The warden is a traitor, and Drake is here to extract the prisoner. That prisoner? Kemtar, also known as Alexander Rozhenko. Yep, Worf's son. He tried to broker peace between the great houses, and for that he got tossed into Galaxy's least fun vacation spot. Drake makes a break for it, and we go full prison riot mode, fighting our way through courtyards, tunnels, traders, and a whole lot of Klingon steel. Eventually, the warden himself turns on us. Shocking, I know. He doesn't win. We end the mission the Klingon way. Dramatic explosions and kind of a destroyed prison. Rura Penthe is gone, but we're not done. Jake leaves us with a final breadcrumb. The next step lies in the Vor system, where we might just uncover what one of the great houses is really planning, and how far Worf is willing to go to stop it. Alright, Captains, now that we're deep into the Manhunt mission on Rura Penthe, let's talk about a few things you definitely don't want to miss, especially if you're playing as a Klingon recruit. So, once you beam down to the frozen surface of Rura Penthe, keep your eyes peeled for your receiver notification. This kicks in one of your first enemies of the Empire targets. These are special marked enemies you'll encounter in select missions, and this one is right at the start, just as you begin questioning prisoners. Now, your goal is to, of course, take out the marked target, and you'll earn progress toward the slay enemies of the Empire, defeat specific foes. And trust me, it's worth it. Completing this gets you a drop of 3 pieces of Klingon gear, ranging from rare to very rare quality. Not a bad haul for a little extra aggression, right? Even though these targets don't actually shout, "Hey, I'm the one," you need to keep an eye for that bright red symbol over their heads. You'll know who they are when you found them. Now, let's talk about Accolades. This mission also gives you a chance to earn one of your first Accolades, Prison Riot. It's not actually the first. You'll get a bunch of Accolades once you sign up for Star Trek Online, but this one is the first one you'll get in the mission. To unlock it, you need to complete both of the optional objectives during the mission, which are quell the unarmed prisoners and quell the armed prisoners. You'll run into both groups while moving through the prison riot sections of the map. Just make sure you don't skip either one if you're going for the Accolade. They're easy to miss if you're blasting through the mission, so slow it down, check your objectives, and clean house. Now, Accolades in Star Trek Online are basically achievement markers. Some are just for, fun and flavor. Others unlock unique powers or buffs. Most of them are tied to exploration, combat, or specific mission choices. In this case, Prison Riot is a part of your early Accolade journey. Easy to grab, but easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Make a habit of checking your recruit task tracker before each mission. Some targets or tasks are mission specific and can't be completed later. Rura Penthe is a key spot for progress, so don't let it slide. Alright, Captains, it's time to pause the phaser fire and talk lore. Because in this mission, we're not just chasing some shady Federation operative, we are uncovering a legacy that ties back to one of the most complex Klingon characters in all of Star Trek. Meet Kemtar, also known as Alexander Rozhenko, the son of Worf and Keller, a Klingon-human hybrid who's had one of the wildest arcs in the galaxy. Alexander first appears in the Star Trek Next Generation Season 4, Episode 7, Reunion. The year was 1990, and this episode gave us a whole lot of Klingon drama. The High Council leader dies, and Picard is stuck playing referee while Worf is suddenly hit with, "By the way, you have a son," revelation. Classic twist. But the story really starts back in Season 2, Episode 20, The Emissary. That's when we met Claire, a Klingon emissary and Worf's former girlfriend. who comes aboard the Enterprise to handle a rogue Klingon ship from the past. She's smart, fierce, and fully capable of throwing Worf off balance. And yep, that's when things get really sparked. Now fast forward, Alexander is born in 2366. He grows up in a weird space between two cultures, never quite fitting into either. We've seen him as a child, as a young warrior, trying to live up to his father's legacy. And now in Star Trek Online, we meet him as Kemtar, a diplomat trying to bring peace to the fractured Klingon Empire. In Star Trek Online lore, Alexander dies in 2409, but not before trying to prevent a Klingon civil war and push the Empire towards peace. And if that wasn't legacy enough, his son, Tuvok, is head of the Task Force Omega, continuing the fight against the Borg. It's a powerful arc, the son of Worf, born of two worlds, always torn between conflict and diplomacy, and in the end choosing peace, even if the cost is high. So yeah, this mission isn't just another run through the prison blast the guards kind of job. It's your first meeting with someone who carries the weight of House Mogg, Federation ideals, and a galaxy full of history. And don't worry, we still got disruptors to fire, but sometimes it's good to stop and appreciate that the Klingon Empire isn't just blood wine and battles. Sometimes it's sons trying to be better than their fathers. Alright, captains, now let's talk about true legend among Starfleet ships, the dependable, surprisingly feisty Miranda-class light cruiser. You'll probably run into a few of them already during the Space Chase mission, usually in large groups, always ready to throw hands, or photon torpedoes. In Star Trek Online, the Miranda is your starter ship if you're a flying Federation. And honestly, it's a solid intro in what Starfleet cruisers are all about. It's a Tier 1 cruiser available right from the start for Starfleet characters, including those Romulan or Dominion captains who align with the Federation. If you're flying non-aligned, don't worry, once you hit level 65, the cross-faction flying unlocks and you're free to hop in and take it for a spin. You can grab Miranda from any ship or shuttle requisitions officer for 1,000 refined dilithium or 850 if you catch it on sale. That's basically the galaxy's best deal on a piece of Trek history. But where did it all begin? The Miranda-class made its first screen appearance in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. You know the one with the iconic scream? The USS Reliant, NCC-1864, was the first Starfleet ship ever designed specifically for a movie. The studio built a full-scale model just for it, and boy did it earn its keep. After that, the Reliant's design became a workhorse for background fleet scenes all across Trek. It got repainted, relabeled, and repurposed. The USS Saratoga in Star Trek IV, the USS Lantry in TNG Unnatural Selection, dozens of cameos during the Dominion War arc in Deep Space Nine, and even parked in Surplus Depot in TNG Unification. These ships were everywhere, especially when Starfleet needed to bulk up fast, like after the Battle of Wolf 359, or once things started heating up with the Dominion. Think of a Miranda-class as Starfleet's trusty old Jeep. Not flashy, but it will get you through the fight. Now here's a fun fact. In TNG, they even invented a Miranda subclass by accident. While prepping the model for filming the Unnatural Selection, the lighting on the roll bar just wouldn't work. So the crew decided, hey, let's just go without it. Boom, the Miranda 2 was born. It still looked great, and now it has its own unofficial subclass. If you're deep in a track rabbit hole, you'll love stuff like this. Registry numbers being recycled, kit bashed models, and fan favorite ships being cobbled together behind the scenes just to meet a shooting deadline. So next time you see a Miranda out there, don't underestimate it. Whether it's in the tutorial, holding the line in a fleet battle, or showing up with a new paint job in a DS9 return, this little cruiser has probably done more mileage in Trek universe than most ships combined. It's not just a starter ship, it's a survivor. And that's a wrap on Space Chace and Manhunt, the third and fourth mission of the Empire arc here in Star Trek Online. We covered a lot of space today, literally and lore-wise. We thought of waves of Federation ships, got tangled into a trap set by one very smug prisoner, and beamed down to the frozen wastes of Rura Penthe for some good old Klingon justice. We met Kemtar, better known as Alexander Rozhenko, a name that brings all the way back to the next generation. And if that wasn't enough, we even got to geek out about the legendary Miranda-class cruiser, born in the Wrath of Khan and still kicking centuries later. If you had fun or learned something new, go ahead and click that like, smash that subscribe, and maybe even share it with fellow Trekkies. Trust me, we've got a whole lot more galaxy to explore. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride through time and space. Until next time, stay curious, stay honorable, and as always, keep exploring the stars.